of man's fantasies of evil can compare with the reality.
And that reality, all the way from the Viking lands, from the other side of the planet Earth, returning to the show after a long stint away, we have actress model Sarah Michelle on the show with us to talk about parts unknown as well as other aspects of her great career. She has been busy over in the Viking lands, but we appreciate her returning to us and glad that she is safe and healthy in quarantine. Thank you for returning to Radio Horror, Sarah.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's so good to talk to you again. It's been forever.
It has. It has. I think we've run into each other 1,000 times between when the last time you were on the show. But I think the last time you were on the show with Fatfoot Films.
Was it Fatfoot Films? I can't remember, but yeah, I wasn't sure if it was them or with Rough House Publishing. But yeah, either way.
It might have been Rough House Publishing. I think you might have been either. I can't remember if you were in the studio or you were on Skype, because where you were living in Rhode Island and having driven out there for a film we made together, I understood your inability to get places sometimes.
Yeah.
How have you been over the last several years, and how has the quarantine been up in Viking land?
So I moved to Norway like 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years in September, which it feels longer, but I've been really, really good. We're out of quarantine. We've been out of quarantine for a little while now, but things are completely different over here compared to the US. So we're in a little bit better shape than you guys. It's been really difficult to like watch what's going on over there from here, but yeah, things have been really good.
You've been getting an education in the language over there, I've noticed sometimes on your social media posts.
I didn't realize when I came here that I was going to go back to school. I actually didn't really know what I was going to do. I just knew, like, I came here to be with my now husband and also to just try to have a better life overall. And I didn't really know, like, okay, so what does that mean, though? You know, like, what am I going to do? So I've been on hiatus from modeling and acting. I'm not saying I'm never going to do it again, but I started going to school. I got this like second chance to go back to school. So I'm like, why shouldn't I take it, you know? So that's what I've been kind of concentrating on for the most part now, but I have some ideas for things that I would like to do in the future, definitely.
What did you get a degree in?
Well, no, I'm not finished yet, but my plan is to major in cultural heritage, which is basically, to kind of narrow it down shortly, it's basically just about like trying to protect and preserve artifacts, like historical artifacts, or even like oral traditions, just that kind of thing. So that's my plan. It's really hard because everything I'm doing is in Norwegian, and I only took like a year language course of it, so it's kind of a struggle, but I'm just going to see how far I can take it and just go from there.
Is this going to be like you? Hold on, I got to clip the play because you just said cultural art, preserving cultural artifacts. It made me think of this line real quick.
Small world, Dr. Jones. Too small for two of us. This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
It belongs in a museum.
So do you.
Yeah, I wish I could be like a female version of Indiana Jones. That would be cool as shit.
That's what I'm thinking that you're going to be doing when you do cultural preservation. You're going to be going around the world with your fedora, leather jacket, and bullwhip, and your dad, your small Chinese companion, singing telegram girl, or former Nazi spy, whatever.
Well, there's a lot of. Well, Norway was actually under Nazi occupation during World War II, and I live in Trondheim, and there's a ton of archaeological digs and all sorts of stuff from dating back to the Viking Age and throughout. Like, I go on runs, and I go by, like, an old World War II bunker, just, like, chilling. Like, it's so crazy, the history that I'm surrounded by, so, yeah, it's a possibility.
Is there any one specific part of cultural preservation that you're looking to get more into? Because I mean, that's such a broad category. I mean, because cultural preservation is in every country on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
But is there one specific part you're looking to get into?
So yeah, so I really, because I'm living in Norway and this is my home now, so I'm really I really want to focus on Norwegian history. So I have to dive like deeper into that as well. So that's my plan. I'm just kind of going with the flow and see what happens. Because it's a shock to my system. Like I went from, since I was like 19, no, I'm sorry, 20 years old. I started in the entertainment industry as a wrestler, professional wrestler, and then I like kind of evolved into everything else that I've done. So it's like my system is like, wait, what are we doing? We're going to school now? Like, what do you mean? So it's a transition.
How much longer do you have?
Oh, I have a while because I have to finish this. I'm in this like immigration program right now, so I have to finish some classes through that, and then hopefully next year I can apply at the local university and really start digging deeper into it. So it's gonna be some time because like it would be great to go for the masters eventually. So it's gonna be a while.
And then
But
you can go for your
I'm in it for the long haul.
And then you can go
What's
for your
that?
then you can go for your doctor and become Dr. Jones.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm a little bit too old maybe to go for a doctorate, but
Oh, come on.
I just taking it one day at a time.
Recently, that came out from Wild Eyed Releasing is Parts Unknown. After putting their bodies on the line for countless years, a family of professional wrestlers seek a brand new way to satisfy their implacable bloodlust. And we have the trailer right here, which we will play.
I'm sorry! I didn't mean to kill you the first time! It's just that you came back to life and, well, we just have to be careful!
Is this a dream?
I don't think so!
I gave my life to professional wrestling. And for what? A bunch of jagoffs who don't remember or don't care. All they can do is look at their phones like a bunch of mindless drones. There's no place left for this family to go. Now it's time to make one last sacrifice. To make that one last suicidal plunge. Whatever humanity calls beauty and warmth, I want to blot it out. I want to extinguish the sun. Don't run, because I will catch you.
And that is Parts Unknown, a wrestling thriller. Looks more like a thriller than a horror movie. I actually got contacted by William Dekoff to participate in that movie, but I wasn't able to get to the audition, unfortunately.
Oh, that's too bad.
Talk a little bit about your part and how you got involved with the movie, playing Kitty Von Strasser?
Strasser, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I've been working with Boston Film Family, who is the creator of Parts Unknown. Wild Eye Releasing is just the distributor that Rick Chandler signed a contract with. But Boston Film Family are the ones that actually created this film and who I worked with. But I've been working with them since 2011. So I've known Rick for a super long time. We became really good friends over the years. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got involved with this movie. And he had this role in mind specifically for me when he was writing it. And I'm always down to be in a Boston Film Family project. So it's definitely a horror movie. Like it probably seems like a thriller from the film, but I mean from the trailer, but you'll see when you actually watch it. It's pretty messed up. It's definitely a very violent, bloody, and has some like supernatural themes to it.
And you were involved with the wrestling community prior to this too, right?
I was. On my 20th birthday, I actually started training to be a wrestler. I trained under Brutal Bob Evans, who's still active in the business today, and I also trained under Steve Bradley, who unfortunately passed away some years ago now. But yeah, so I was a wrestler for a while. Even spent some time down in Mexico where I was a luchadora, and So yeah, it was really interesting to take on this role for like a lot of reasons, but to get back in the ring, it was like my first time in the ring in over 15 years or something crazy, and it was just it was cool to see how like everything comes full circle, you know? Like something from my past was coming into play into my present.
What year did you film this? Did you film before you left for Europe?
Yes, we filmed it the summer of 2017. So it was literally like we finished filming, I think like the last day for the project. Like I think I was done in July, but I think the last day for the project in total was like August, and then I moved in September. So it was like literally right before I left.
I've known William Deacoff off and on. Haven't had a chance to work with him, but I've talked with him, met with him, run into him, of course, at Rock and Shock, which is where I met you as well. Talk about the experience working with him.
Yeah, no, it was fine. We had like some scenes together and everything, and what was cool is like he actually wanted to rehearse some of them, which was nice because sometimes people just kind of like to just kind of go in it. So it was cool to be able to like actually kind of go over some things with each other about how we wanted it to be done.
When you're wrestling in real life versus filming a wrestling scene, is it very similar that you guys take all the same precautions because your bodies are getting like banged around and slammed around? It seems as though like the two are very very similar, kind of like filming a play, making a play on stage versus filming a play in a movie.
Yeah, well, for it's so when you're actually doing a wrestling match, when you're actually having a wrestling match, like you're live. So it's not like, okay, you shoot some like you do some stuff and then you cut and then you stop and you like, maybe redo whatever you just did or something. So it was kind of weird in a way because like in my head it's like, riding a bicycle. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and then like so you do it. You know what I mean? You don't usually get a second chance to try something. So it was definitely a different experience filming wrestling as compared to like having a live show.
Now, recently, the promo items for the film have come out, and something happened, which is not cool. Talk. I'll let you get out as much as you want to about it. But what happened with the promotional material for this movie? Which, by the way, if you want to see a great promo picture of Sarah, if you go to the IMDb for this movie, she looks like she has the eyes of a killer with her teeth gnarly open, and she looks like a complete psychopath in this picture. But she's actually one of the sweetest people you'll ever talk to and meet and work with and people. But this picture on IMDb is perfect for the movie. Which should have been the poster image, but I will let you get into what's going on with Wild Eye releasing.
Yeah, well, first I'm just gonna say, like, when I was filming this movie, because like just because you mentioned how psychotic I look, I'd like to say like, oh, I'm a great actress. That's why like I was able to portray it. But to be completely to be completely honest, I was in like such a crazy mindset at this time because I don't know if you remember, but my brother had just passed away right before we started filming.
I did, and
So
I didn't want to
was
bring it up,
like,
but I'm glad you did, and to get
yeah.
into that yourself.
So like I was in really rough shape, and I would say that like portraying this completely psychotic and evil person in this film was really therapeutic. So, but anyway, yeah, so the whole thing with the new poster that was released by a Wild Eye Releasing came kind of like a shock to almost everyone, not everyone, but almost everyone, because we had no idea, like me and the other women in this film, we had no idea that it was coming. So, one day I get a message from one of the other actresses asking me if I have seen the promo poster, and I said no. And then next thing I know, I have all these things popping up, notifications, people asking me like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like, I have no idea because I'm very out of the loop over here in Norway. So for whatever reason, which is still unclear because Wild Eye has not reached out. I have not received any sort of statement or explanation from anyone involved. They created this new poster, which is fine. Like, I get that. I understand that people want to change posters up for marketing or whatever. But they put 3 women, because in Parts Unknown, there's 3, like, main women in this film. the 3 women they put on this poster are digitalized. They have nothing to do with the movie. They're not in the film. I don't actually even know if they're real women or if they're just like an artist rendition, because they kind of resemble some sort of like pop culture references. For the male, they used the male actor. They used William Dukoff. So we just thought it was really strange that they would not use us. You know what I mean? Because it just seems like kind of sexist in a way. Like, oh, replace the women, but don't replace the male actor for this poster.
You
And
know,
like the issue.
it's funny you bring that up, because the next guest that's going to be on the show tonight, after you, we bring that up about her poster as well. There ain't one woman from the movie who's actually the vampire on the poster that this actress is in.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm gonna definitely go into more into that in a second, because it's definitely a huge issue in this industry. But like the main issue with this poster, because I feel like when I was originally releasing statements about how I felt about this incident, I feel like I was kind of coming across as like, oh, hey, I'm not on this poster and I was like a lead in this movie. But that's not the issue. Like, the issue is not that I'm not on the poster. It's that the 3 female actors who were in the actual film were replaced with like these random digitalized women who have nothing to do with the film. But the male actor is featured as like he's the original actor. So it's just like, is this not sexist? Are we not supposed to be insulted by this? And I keep hearing like, it's a part of the biz, it's a part of the business. Like, oh, we should be glad that they didn't cut up the whole film and like in editing or whatever. And it's just like, but why? Like, why is this like a thing in this industry that we allow these companies to do? You know what I mean? Like, why is everyone just like so cool to be compliant with it? Like, everyone's just settling for something that's less than they deserve. You know what I mean? Like, why is this just okay to everyone? You know, people complain and they moan about like so much, but when are people going to start taking a stand? Like, we can't expect change in this industry until we do something about it. You know, we can't, if we're not able to hold ourselves or other people accountable, like in a business that we claim to love, like, I mean, it's no wonder we can't do that in any other aspect of our lives. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm hearing that this is something that happens like a lot, like people not being represented on the poster that are actually in the film, or people just signing whatever contract just so they can get like a VOD contract or like whatever. And it's just like, why do you let these people take advantage of you and your team and everything, you know? So I'm just kind of using like my current situation as an example for the industry as a whole, because like I just said, like, that's not the first time it's happened and it's not going to be the last time. So I really just want to urge people, you know, in the entertainment business to start standing up for yourself, because there's literally no better time than right now in the midst of like everything that's going on in this world. You know, like, just stand up for yourself, like hold integrity with your projects and yourself and your role, regardless of what your role is in the industry. Like, speak up, don't settle for less than you deserve, work together and have each other's backs. Don't let distribution companies like Wildeye Releasing or whoever take advantage of you, your projects, your team, like whatever, because we're all codependent, you know? We cannot create without each other in some form or another. Like, it's a team effort, and these companies we are so eager to please, they're nothing without us. And it's just something I feel like people need to kind of, I don't know, take more seriously. Like, people are afraid to speak out because they're like, I don't want to come across as too political, or I don't want people to think I'm difficult, or, oh, maybe these people won't work with me anymore if I start saying something. But like, everyone says stuff behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
There's a book that you should read, or you can get the audiobook. I recommend the audiobook just in case you don't have the time. But called Becoming Superman. It's written by J. Michael Straczynski, and he echoes something that you just said about people worried about, I'm going to be too political or I'm going to be too difficult to work with. And in his
Yeah.
book, he talks about the reasons why he's been fired from so many projects, to the point that his agent even said, "You're going to be labeled as the guy in Hollywood that is too difficult to work with." And he's just like, "Why? Because I stand up for myself?" And the BS in this show. One example he uses in that is that he wanted to go full on crazy supernatural H.P. Lovecraft style with Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters cartoon series, the real Ghostbusters. But the more he did, the more pushback he kept getting from the studio, because they needed to make it kiddie friendly and they needed to like dumb it down for children, even though they wrote 50 episodes with all sorts of ghosty muckety muck like you heard about in the movie with Dan Aykroyd. And other times that he did that, like he reintroduced Murder, She Wrote with some new elements that made the show better. In fact, even Angela Lansbury was grateful for the amount of like life that he brought to Murder, She Wrote. Like, for instance, she was no longer using a typewriter, she was using a word processor, which at the time was a big deal. Nowadays, you're like, a word processor? What about a laptop? But he had that type of problem as well. And he talks about in his book, which is what you just said, that don't stop speaking up for yourself and being difficult when there is a problem with something that you are creating, that the studio is just being like, "Harumpa, harumpa, harumpa, we are so much better than you because we live in the ivory towers of Olympus and Hollywood, and you are our slave here in the factory of putting the movie together."
Yeah, I mean, it's really frustrating. Like, and I feel like some people are like, well, it's easy for you because now you're in Norway and, this isn't like your life right at this exact moment. But I mean, you've known me for a while, Chris, and like, I feel like I'm not saying I've always been like, gung-ho about speaking about every little thing, but I've been pretty outspoken throughout the years, I feel. I've been, I say things that I think. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, to be honest with you, but I just think it's so important because we can, like, what's the point of doing this if we're not going to respect each other or ourselves, Point.
And in complete support of what you just said, I remember there were times, I'm not going to get into what they were, but there were times that you have told me stories involving things you were doing. We were like in person talking this or whatever, and I was like, why don't you say something about this? Why don't you come on the show and say something about it? And you're like, I can't. They're gonna say I'm too difficult to work with, and I want to be able to do this again. I'm not gonna get into what they are, but I remember having that conversation with you, and that really woke me up to the like, wow, she's like, she is incredibly strongly independent and not afraid to say what's on her mind, but she's afraid to talk about this because it's going to hurt her career.
Like, there was like a time when I was trying to be I was trying to be more compliant, I guess, because I had so many different people telling me like how important it is for me if I want to quote unquote make it or whatever, like to not do that. But then after a while, I was just like, no, the hell with that, like. I shouldn't have to change who I am to do something I love. And I shouldn't have to expect people to talk down to me or to like use me or whatever. Like that's not how this should work. And that's not how we're all going to get ahead in general. Like, think of how much we could accomplish if we stopped like screwing each other over. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I would have been promoting the heck out of all the publication stuff that Wild Isle Releasing was doing, if they had have done some justice. Like, I wouldn't, if it was just Will DeCoff and all the other girls on there, I wouldn't care, because like I said, the issue has nothing to do with me not being on there. It has to do with like the blatant sexism and just disrespect, So I was just like, I just wish like people would just stand up for themselves. That's all. I just feel like, and right now is really the perfect time for people to do it. It really is, because no one is keeping their mouth shut lately. So it's like, why do it? Why keep your mouth shut now?
And this thing about the actress not appearing in the poster that's in the movie goes back like decades and decades. I mean, I got a pack of films in from Scream Factory, and all 4 of the posters have some woman in clothes torn apart, monster hovering over her, state of undress. And I contacted the director of 2 of those movies, be like, "Who is this actress?" And they're like, "We have no idea." That was a commissioned artwork. I mean, I don't even think that may not even be a real woman. That might be just a drawing. It could be based on a real woman because it certainly looks like it. The drawings are, 80s box art cover, the stuff that you saw in the video store. You were like, "Oh my God, look at the art." But then you watch the movie, you're like, "Oh my God, I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this."
I know.
And you're like, well, that's different because that's art. You know what I mean? That was a bygone era where they actually gave a crap about artwork for a movie poster or DVD or cover or whatever it is. Nowadays, it's floating heads, which is okay, but it's like everyone needs to be screamed. No, let's do something a little better. And I wonder sometimes, and you are incredibly beautiful, but I'm wondering who at the studio goes, the girls in the movie are all messed up and they're bloodied and they're not attractive enough to sell our movie. Let's stick somebody on there that's just, flawless and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't think that's
funny?
right. And I hate saying it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to get the impression from me, Sarah. I don't think you're not attractive enough to be on the poster. But you get what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Want to put my disclaimer out there before people are like, "Oh, did you hear what he said?"
Yeah, no, I don't care. It's
Okay.
fine, dude. But yeah, so I don't know. That's all I really kind of have to say about that whole situation. It's just, I really just am trying to use like this as an example because I just feel like people just let themselves get exploited too easily because everyone has this dream, but like it's not worth losing yourself. It's not devaluing yourself. It's not worth losing your integrity, Like just you can have a dream and you can achieve that dream and not lose a piece of yourself at the same time. But that's kind of all I have to say about that.
You're rocking those Macho Man Randy Savage glasses in the pictures.
Thanks. Yeah, I like those. Those were really cool. Actually, I wanted to keep those, but that's okay.
Have you ever
They were fun.
have you ever kept anything from any set you've ever worked on?
I feel like, because it's not like I've done anything like big Hollywood or anything, everything I've done is like low budget. So I feel like most of the stuff, the wardrobe that I used in that film was done by Jenny French Collection. So that was all created specifically for me. But usually in a film, I've almost always used my own wardrobe and stuff. So I really like took it. You know what? Well, I can't say actually because that'll be giving away something in the movie. But I did take something, but I think it's in storage in Rhode Island. Actually, now that I think about it.
Is the tattoo on your arm real? I can't remember if you had tattoos or not.
Yeah, no, it's real. I got it when I was 18.
Oh,
I like it, but you know what I mean? It's like one of those things. It doesn't really fit my personality anymore. So, but it's here forever, so.
Yeah, don't get it lasered off. That hurts, I hear.
No, I'm not going to do that. It's too much money.
You have like 2 other projects on the top of your IMDb. Are those things actually in production that you wanted to mention real quick?
Wait, do I? I have no idea. I'm actually not currently doing anything right now.
Hold on, I'll bring them up real quick. I Am Monroe and Quarter Turn.
Oh yeah, but I've already filmed those. Maybe I guess there's in like editing limbo, maybe.
Yeah, kind of like the last movie that we worked on together, which was the Sleepover. I found out I couldn't delete it off IMDb. They were like, just put it as completed, but then put below it lost in translation or lost film or whatever. And I was just like, really? They're like, yeah, it's the only thing you can do. Because I had Penny Dreadful from the the horror host or whatever has run into me at several different conventions and other spooky events in New England. It's like, hey, where is that movie? I'm just like, oh, let me tell you. She's like, because it's always on my IMDb. And I'm just like, yeah, and it always will be. I found out you can't delete from IMDb. You can just say it's completed and lost.
Yeah. No, so I'm not like currently working on anything because I've been so focused on school, but I am planning on like kind of reestablishing who I am and what I have to offer as far as like my members sites go.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually haven't even officially announced yet, because I've been on hiatus with that as well. But like, I'm kind of like I'm working on behind the scenes. Like it's just I'm working on just reestablishing myself for that. It's just important to me to kind of at this point to align my work with how I'm feeling and like my values and everything. And I'm a like really open book. And I kind of want to do this in the most authentic way that I can, meaning I kind of want to tear away like societal norms and expectations of like what a woman is both supposed to be and look like. And like I want people to stop placing like negative associations and labels on sexuality, sex, like our bodies, and then people who embrace these things because it's such a normal, natural, and healthy human thing, you know, and no one should be shamed for it. So I'm really working hard at kind of redoing everything. I'm not going to like delete all my old content. It's still going to be there, but I'm going in a completely new direction. And yeah, I hope to bring some positivity towards that.
The suggestion I had was combining two things together. When you do have your education all completed and you're the expert in your field, you take your love of that and your love of your country and your love of filming and you put it together and you create your own like either YouTube or whatever, like not reality. I hate that word, but some type of like, hey, I'm Sarah Michelle, and I'm going to talk about this like ancient thing that I'm trying to preserve, and like this is the history, and you're like the narrator, and you just kind of create your own little program or show. Because again, you can combine your love of filming as with your love, your new love together, and you can create your own little travel channel thing. You know what I mean? Something you could pitch in a few years.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about something like that because like when I first moved to Norway, I like briefly started streaming on Twitch. I don't do it anymore, but I was like streaming gameplay on Twitch, and I was thinking like I would love to take this and like go out and go hiking and show some of the historical places because there's just so many like within walking distance where I live. Like literally right down the street from where I live is like an Iron Age burial mound. It's like really cool. Yeah, it's and you know what's funny is that my husband and I found it by playing Pokemon Go. It was a Pokestop. We were like, wait, what? But yeah, so I've actually been thinking about doing something like that, but I've just been so focused on school. It's just like I'm not gonna lie, it's really difficult to go to school in a foreign language, but so it's taken a lot out of me. So I even stopped streaming on Twitch because of that. But that was actually going really well too. But yeah, so there's a lot of ideas. That's why I'm like, I never say never. I have not quit acting. I have not quit modeling or any of that. It's just I'm kind of going with the flow right now, and I don't want to like force anything. You know what I mean?
If you do decide to kind of pursue that idea of like, hey, there's this ancient whatever, my walk, and so on and so forth. If you need help with it, let me know. I'm again working in audio editing more and more, in something outside of just the radio, as well as doing the podcasting, which kind of all started when you left, and then the audiobook series, which I've been working on, has led to other like audio things. I'm going to be not just starring in this Star Wars movie starting on Thursday, but also editing, helping edit the audio for it.
That's so cool. Yeah. No, I would love that. That would be so awesome. Like
Cool.
you've always been such a like a big supporter
Oh,
of not just me, but like everybody in the industry, and your passion and your love for it. Like I'm gonna get mushy here, so I hope you're ready, buddy. But like you're just like
okay, I got my tissues. Hold on.
No, but like for real though, like you just you're like this bright light in this industry, for real. Like I'm not saying that you've never driven me crazy before because we've known each other since 2011, so there's plenty of opportunities for us to like annoy one another. But, like you really are appreciated and you're rare, dude. So like seriously, just keep being you. You have such a big heart and you're such a big supporter of like literally everybody in the entertainment industry, and like
That is something someone else has
So
said.
thank
They like
you.
there's nobody you won't have on the show connected to the genre you cover. And even you branch off into sci-fi and fantasy, and that's fine because they're all connected to horror in some way, like Labyrinth or, whatever. And there's nobody you won't have on the show. And they said I looked at all the guests you've had on this was like a conversation a couple of years ago, had all the guests you've had on for the last 10 years. And it's unbelievable. You have people on, I really had to research who the hell they were. And they were like, oh, that's cool. They did these things. Or like the guy doing the Star Wars movie with me, he knows you. Mike Goodrow.
Oh yeah, I've worked with him before.
Right, and he was like shocked that he got tagged in the post that I did on Facebook about you, and he's the director of the Star Wars movie I'm going to be playing a Dark Force user in on Thursday.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I remember having a lot of fun on his set.
Good.
That was like one of my really early on acting roles, was working with him. I played this like really crazy girl named Sandra, but yeah, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on IMDb.
Yeah, I don't see it. He gave me the name.
Yeah, there's a lot of the stuff I've done that's not on there, but like I said, I haven't really been like looking on there. So
if you're indie people like us, unless they're adding you because they're the director of the project creating the IMDb, you're pretty much always going to add yourself. There's stuff on IMDb. I'm like, hey, what happened to the IMDb for that? Oh, we never developed it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it then because that's 14 people I'd have to, hunt them down on IMDb and create pages for and stuff like that. So
yeah. Well, but thank you, Chris, so much. Seriously.
No, thank you for coming back on the show. It's been a long time since we had actually a chance to talk. We're not in person, but you're on the other side of the planet Earth, hunting down stuff and getting a great education. I'm so happy for your personal life. I understand, the things that happened here were incredibly tragic. I deal with a lot of, and I've talked about this before, I deal a lot with depression and anxiety myself. So I have appreciated when crap is bad, reaching out to you on social media to be like, hey, this sucks. And I don't know what to do about it. So, and I have gone to you because of what happened to your brother. And I was just like, if anyone will understand, it's like 3 or 4 people, and you're one of those 3 or 4 people I can reach out to be like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what the consequences of the thought process of this is going to be. So I reached out to a couple people, and you're usually one of them. Recently on Instagram or Twitter, it was So, but I'm glad that you found happiness.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, life is never perfect. It's just we gotta keep on pushing forward the best that we can.
Definitely. Go to Wild Out Racing, send him a comment about the poster if you want to, but definitely check out the film. From the trailer, it looks fantastic. William Dekoff has also been a friend of the show for a long time, so hopefully we'll have him on the show. Sarah, thank you so much for coming back on the show.